welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me today. I truly appreciate it. Today we are actually going to be trying out a new series which I'm very interested in, which is going to be makeup and mystery. So if that is something that you think that you might be interested in, don't forget to click the subscribe button if you do enjoy this video and hit the notification bell, as I do post videos every single week. So today we are going to be doing a video on the top 4 Canadian mysteries that I've found. So I guess technically it's my top 4. Today we're going to be listing off 4 unsolved Canadian mysteries. So let's just get right into number 4. Coming in at number 4, we've got Mary O'Donnell of Vancouver, BC. So Mary, also known as Marie, was a 50-year-old woman who had lived alone since her husband's passing 14 years prior. She was described as a kind, petite woman who was just living her best life despite her hardships and her struggles in life. So Mary O'Donnell was leaving an A&W just after midnight on July 28th, 1988. She was on her way home, and unfortunately, she would never make it there again. After Mary had left the A&W at approximately, I believe, 1:40 in the morning, so about an hour and a half after she had left the A&W, her body was found on the grounds of a local high school. She had been robbed and brutally beaten to death, and unfortunately, to this day, her perpetrator has never been found. So our next case that we're going to be getting into is going to be actually something that is still ongoing to this day. It's a very controversial topic that many people to this day, and rightfully so, are still angered about. So this is going to be the Highway of Tears in British Columbia, and it's also known as the Stretch of Death. The Highway of Tears is a 725-kilometer corridor of highway that is located between Prince George and Prince Rupert, British Columbia. It is said to be the location of many murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls, leading all the way back to as early as 1970. The Highway of Tears became a symbol of unchecked violence against Indigenous women and girls. Rightfully so. I mean, somebody was obviously out there harming these poor women, and it didn't really seem like anybody was doing too much about it, even to this day. The number of bodies found had continued to grow, and the first of 18 women found was identified as Gloria Moody. Little 14-year-old Alea was the last. Both these women had been identified by the RCMP. The cases of these women to this day have never been solved, and only a few investigators still remain on the case, and that's very unfortunate. So moving on to our next case comes from Manitoba, which is actually where I'm from. So this is the case of Carrie Ann Brown from Thompson, Manitoba. Carrie Ann Brown was brutally murdered in October of 1986. She was just 15 years old. She was a beautiful young woman with her whole life ahead of her. So Carrie Ann Brown had gone to a party with her best friend Nicole that night, but they had decided to leave early when Nicole's ex showed up with a new girlfriend. You know, this probably made them feel very uncomfortable. Maybe she just wanted to avoid some conflict. I mean, who knows? Side note, I'm so sorry, you guys, but I did do my eyeliner off camera, just like my brows, because I've actually never done a video like this before. So if you're still here, I love you guys so much. It said that after the 2 girls left the party, that they ended up having to go back because Nicole had forgotten her purse, which is Carrie Ann Brown's best friend. It is not said if both girls had gone back into the house, but Nicole definitely did, and it is said that she had gotten into some sort of argument with her ex. And by the time she was ready to leave, Carrie Ann had disappeared. Carrie was reported missing on October 17th, 1986, and sadly, her body was found the very next day. Her body had been found by two horseback riders on the outskirts of the city, just past a graveyard. She had been SA'd. You know, I don't want to say that on here for my channel's surviving purposes, but she had been SA'd and viciously beaten to death. I mean, it's absolutely just sickening how a human can do this to another human. Not only was she viciously beaten to death, but with branches. I mean, can you imagine the pain and suffering that she must have went through in her final moments? I just can't imagine. Although the police had initially arrested a man for the brutal crime and demise of poor Carrie Ann, he was later released for reasons that I could not find. So if you could find those reasons, let me know in the comments down below. But he was released, and there is belief by an RCMP officer that a former RCMP officer, that the case was initially mishandled. He also believes that things were overlooked. However, they did recover the DNA of two individuals that points to two people were involved in the disgusting and sickening death of Carrie Ann Brown. But unfortunately, to this day, her case still remains a mystery, but we are hopeful, as every other case that we have covered in this video and will continue to cover, Unsolved, that they will be caught, especially since they did find two DNA profiles. So it's just a matter of time before at least one of those people is identified, we hope. So the final case coming in at number 1 that I am going to share with you guys today is another one from Vancouver, British Columbia. This is the case of a woman who was originally named Jane Doe, and later, 2 years later, she was identified and finally given a name. The woman, initially referred to as Jane Doe, was seen climbing over a guardrail on August 1st of 2000, where she had fallen onto a drive-off ramp below the bridge that she was seen climbing over the guardrail. She had not only no signs of drugs or alcohol in her system at the time, but it was said that she had no prior history at all with the police with drugs. She was later identified 2 years after they had found her body as Fatima Narazi Porspahani, and I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that name. I mean, no disrespect at all. Fatima Narazi, also known as Sarah Narazi, was an Iranian national who was living in North Vancouver at the time of her death. Sarah was a homeless woman due to some hardships and domestic abuse that she had come across at the time. Now, although she was seen climbing over a guardrail, it's not said if she had any history with mental illness that I could find. However, it definitely did not appear to be anything of the sorts of a drug-induced psychosis because, as I said, they did not find any drugs or alcohol in her system at the time. However, the police did say that they suspected foul play, and her death was eventually ruled as a homicide. Now, unfortunately, to this day, her death has not been solved, and her case remains a mystery. Now, I couldn't find any information on why the police had thought that there was foul play involved. However, they obviously have some evidence that I could not come across. Again, these are some older stories that I have come across. I do hope to cover some newer ones in my newer videos, but this was just an on-the-spot kind of idea that I thought, hey, you know what, why not combine two of the things that I love and that I know a lot of you out there love and put them together as one. So I truly do hope that all of these cases are solved one day. I mean, it's unfortunate, and it's just unfortunate times that we're living through right now, but you know, stuff has been going on throughout history, and I just hope that one day we can finally put some closure to these cases to give the family Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I truly do love you guys. It means a lot. And again, if this is something that you think you would be interested in, then don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, as I do plan to post videos like this every single week. And I really do hope that you do stick around to watch them. So I love you guys so much, and we'll see you in my next one.